13 and 14 first. A lot of you that I saw with this had the correct answer. Some of you were a little off, but for the most part, you all got this. The first thing with your evaluating that I should be seeing is you putting whatever it says in. So something like this. Some of you use the dots, which is fine, but if we have a lot of things, it may just be more helpful to just use the parentheses. You could do each of these by hand or in your calculator. So when multiplying, this would become 10, this would become 6, this would become 18, this would become 9, and then 10 minus 6 would give us 4, 18 plus 9 would give us 27. Leave these in your absolute value bars until you don't have anything else to do. So then this becomes 4 plus 27, which was 31. So those of you that got that and did that, good job. Questions on that one? $14 had a lot going on. Four times 9 plus 3 times 9 over 27 plus a negative 24 plus the cube root of 9 times negative 24. So again, put each thing in so I can see that you substituted or replaced correctly. And then show me each piece so that you multiply this to get 36. Some of you started doing this all at the same time. Some of you did these two and then the middle, whichever, that's fine. I kind of did this all at the same time. So this multiplied to be 27. This is really subtracting. This multiplied to be the cube root of negative 216. Then if you were using your calculator, square root of 36 is 6, this becomes 9, and this becomes negative 6. So your final answer was 9. Questions on that one? I had you guys do 2 on this. I didn't get a chance to go around and check this for you guys. Anyone want to share what they got? And then we'll compare and go from there. It's okay if it's right or wrong. We're just trying to get answers. Otis?
I just printed 2 correct.
Yeah.
I got 6.
You got 6. So, did anyone else get 6? Okay. What else did we get? Negative 4. Who else got negative 4? A few of us. Did we get anything else? It's okay. Alright, so let's put these in and see which of these is correct. So x is 1/3. I'm going to put that in parentheses and put the square outside of that. Then we are multiplying to the absolute value of y plus 5. Y is negative 15. Then we are adding to the cube root of z, which is negative 125. Great. If we are doing our grouping first, we have parentheses here, but nothing inside.
We have parentheses here, so we can focus on that. We can kind of do some of this at the same time, but we'll focus on one thing at a time. Okay, so this would become negative 9. And then some of you may have done this in the same step. We'll have them do all 3 of these at the same time. When you put this in your calculator, you can use parentheses and then put the square on the outside. So what I mean by that is put this in parentheses and outside of that, square it. But if you didn't do that, you'd get the same thing. If it was negative, though, you should probably put it in parentheses. But what this is really doing is squaring the numerator and the denominator. So 1/9 is what that becomes. This, there's nothing else left inside, so this is going to multiply, or these two things are going to multiply. This is going to become just positive 9. This is going to become a negative 5. This is going to become what? 1/9 times 9. 1. And then when we subtract those two, we get negative 4. So negative 4 was the correct answer.
So those of you that got that, good job. Did we have any other questions that we wanted to go over on this quick check page? Jasmine, the third one. And then Sophia.
I just have a question about number 2. How do you do the square root?
The cube root in the calculator. If you go into math, this is number 4. Alright, for number 3, again you have 3 variables. We're putting each of these in. So 6 times, these are multiplying. It's not 6 to the third, it's 6 times the cube root of. So if you want, you can use parentheses. N is 8. Be careful when there's multiple variables because you may put it in the wrong place. We're subtracting P, which is negative 6, times the cube root of M, which is 4, and then we're adding 1. Okay, so things on the inside, the cube root of 8 would be 2. The square root of 4 would be 2. And then we are multiplying, so 12 and negative 12. And then we can combine the rest. So 12 minus a negative is the same thing as 12 plus. So that would be 24. And then plus 1. So we should get 25 for that one. I believe I have extra copies of the review in the dark blue crate in the Unit 1 folder if you need it. But take out your review. We're going to go over whatever questions you want to go over. Does anyone need an extra copy of that? Okay. And then, yeah. What questions on whatever page you want to go over, have questions about, want to see, whatever. I did not go over Khan Academy questions, so after this, if we still have Khan Academy questions, remind me, and we'll go through those. So, do we have any questions on the first page? Any we want to go over? Maybe we're not sure how to start or how we would do it, whatever. This is your chance to ask questions, get help on things you may or may not understand before you guys take your quiz. If not on the first page, look on the next page and see if there are any you want to get help starting. Now, these are different than the ones we were working with because these have x squared, xy, and y squared. If you wanted to change that to x squared, x, and 1, you could. Remember that anytime it's shaded, that's a negative. Jasmine.
Is square root part of exponent?
Say that one more time.
Is square root an exponent?
For this,
No, just like in general.
in general.
Like for order of operations, is that an exponent?
Exponent radicals, it's a radical. So it would go in that same order, exponent or radical, yes. Any questions on the second page we see that we want to go over together? You may have the same question someone else does, so don't be afraid to ask whatever questions you have. Questions on Otis?
The shaded ones represent negatives, correct?
Correct. On the third page, questions on that one? So this is switched, and because of the way these are written, if you wanted to again change this to x and this to 1, you have to change any term you see with xy to just x, and any term with y squared to just the number. Any questions on this page we want to go over, have questions about? You
On the first page, there was
on the very first page? So these ones you are given words and have to put them in algebraic expression. So the cube of, notice it doesn't say cube root. So cube of, you are raising it to the third power. The cube of a, that means a cubed plus b. But 435, the cube of the sum of means the cube is going to be applied to everything. So I'm going to be adding a and b together. And outside of that, I'm going to put the third power, raised to the third power. Otis?
So could I write that as ab to the power of 3?
That would be the product of.
Okay.
So if it says the cube of the product of, then yes. Sophia? Quotient, you're dividing. 7.
I don't know how to do the number 17 and 19 on that page.
17 and 19. So this one's going to be kind of similar to the wording of this. We are multiplying because the 1/2 is next to the parentheses. We're multiplying. 1/2 times, and these two are adding. So as long as you have a multiplication word in there and a adding word in there, how you write that, there are different ways. Let's say the easiest would probably be 1/2 times the sum of x and y. I don't know if that's the easiest. That is one way you could write it. I'll say that. Remember that anytime you're using the sum of, the quotient of, product of, difference of, you don't have to include, again, whatever operation you're using. You just put of this and this. And 19 you said? Oh, 19. So 19 is going to be similar, but instead of the sum, I can say difference. So 5 times the difference of A and B. So as long as you are saying whatever is being multiplied to everything, that works. If you said 1/2 times x plus y, it wouldn't be the same. Because that would be 1/2 x plus y, and that's not what we want. Okay. Any others on this page before we go back? Hila? 15, Eric, which one were you going to say? 20, which one? 28. Sorry, I just came here. 15, 28. Okay. For 15, we are multiplying. They're next to one another, so we're multiplying. And something is being raised to the second power, or squared. So you could say the product of 8 and y squared. You could say 8 times y squared. 8 times y raised to the second power. There are a bunch of different ways. So you can be very specific, you can be very vague. 8 times a number squared. You could be vague and specific. 8 times a number y squared. There's so many different ways to put it. For 28, the product of twice A and B. Product means what? Multiplication. So we're multiplying. Twice means what? 2. What are we doing with that 2?
The second power.
Not to the second power. What would we be doing with twice? Same thing as double. What do you do when you double or twice something? Hila? Multiply. So we are multiplying these two things together, but we are also multiplying these two things together. So twice A times B, or twice A, B. You could put it in parentheses. None of that matters because everything is being multiplied to each other. 1/2 the product of x and y. So product, again, we're multiplying. The two things we're multiplying are x and y. 1/2 the product, we are multiplying this to, we could write that a couple different ways. We could write it as 1/2 times xy. We could write it as 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So we could say xy divided by 2. Those would be the same thing, because if I wrote this as a fraction and multiplied across, it would give me this. Either way is fine. Other ones? Yeah. 32. The sum of 3 times A and B. The sum of means what? Addition. We are adding these things together. We are multiplying these two things together. So 3 times A and then plus B. So always look for that and because it'll tell you these two things are going together.
if no more on this page, do we have any others on the second or third? Because I'm going to move on to the other pages. Fourth or fifth page, either or. I think they have the same numbers, so if you move on to the fifth page, tell me the number, letter, whatever. Some of the ones on the fifth page have more distributing exponents, more variables. Hila? Say that again. 3A on the first or second page? 3A. Okay. So we have these two things that are multiplying. We have exponents. But if we are simplifying, the exponents don't mean anything. Exponents only mean something when we're evaluating. Now, if we had multiple things with exponents, we could combine those, but we don't. So we are just combining, distributing, simplifying. So we can multiply these two things together. Remember, you're just multiplying the numbers. Bring everything else down. So 3x to the third. This would become what? Otis. Yes. Have you used the eHOPS? Yes. Okay. What would negative 5 times 3xy become? Negative 15xy. Come on. Just thinking about it. Okay, come on. There we go. Here we go. Negative 15xy, bring down negative 2xy. Can we do anything else with this? Yes. What? We have like terms we can combine. So negative 15 minus 2. Remember, we're starting with a negative. We're going further into the negative. So negative 17. Keep your exponents. So highest exponent goes first, and then ABC order for everything else. Is there anything else we can do with that? No. So that would be our final answer. Okay. Other questions on this page? Sophia? From this one. And what letter did you say? Number letter? 1A. Okay. Do we have like terms here? Yes. Everything is a like term. Everything has x's. So how you add these together, you can put them all together, do it one by one, doesn't matter. So 1 plus a negative is really just 1 minus 7, so negative 6. So we'll do that and then bring the rest. And then if I combine these three, that would give me 3x, negative 6x plus 3x would give us how many x's? Negative 3x. Any others on these two pages? Lacey. Say that number again. Not an A. Okay. So now you are distributing rational coefficients, your fractions. Remember that if you don't have anything up here, you can think about this, anything but 1. You can think about this as dividing,
instead of multiplying. So 24 divided by 3 would give us 8. Include your x. Negative 18 divided by 3 would give us negative 6, and then include your y. 16 divided by a negative 4, because this is negative 1/4, would be negative 4x. Negative 36y divided by negative 4 will be a positive 9y. Before we continue, anyone confused or have questions on how we got there? Do we have like terms? Yes. We have x's, we have y's. For our x's, 8x minus 4x would give us positive 4x. Negative 6y plus 9y would give us a positive 3y. We cannot combine those, so that would be our final answer. I'm not going to do this one, but remember that anytime you have just a negative, there's really a 1 there. So you're distributing a negative 1. For sake of time, I do want to move on to the evaluating pages. Any of those we want to go over or have questions about? So you do have absolute value bars, but we're going to put everything in first. So negative 2 times the absolute value of 4 times 4 minus 3 times 6. Do what's inside first. So you can multiply these. 16 minus 18. Still do what's inside first. 16 minus 18. Once you don't have any operations inside, make this positive. And then multiply and then add. Other evaluating questions? I want to give you enough time to do your quiz. One, I'm going to give you instructions on how this is going to work, because what I put in Canvas is not exactly how it's going to work. Because in Canvas I said it's open note. That's not the case. But it is open friend. So you guys can work with each other on the quiz, but you cannot have notes out, can't have your computers out, anything like that. So you can work with each other, you just cannot use your notes. You can't use me either. So you can ask each other, you guys can work with each other, talk with one another. This shouldn't be, oh yeah, I got this. You should be explaining how you got whatever. Does anyone have questions on how the quiz is going to work? Yes, Otis. Yes, you can use calculators, you just can't use Desmos. So use each other, use your calculators, no notes, no me. Computers, Sophia. It is paper. Alright, so clear off your desk except for your calculator. If you need